the storm with your heart. Play the storm with your heart.
What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
And this is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today, and we reacted to a few things, and we're also going to give our predictions to NFL Week 5. So let's get it started. I want to say this. First of all, we're going to get to Thursday Night Football, but
Okay.
I want to turn my attention to something that we have alluded to these past few weeks. I want to give you just a quick analogy.
Okay.
When it comes to quarterbacks, they're like glass faces. Easy to break, hard to fix. And just noticing what has been going around the league these past few years when it comes to drafting and developing quarterbacks. We see certain organizations getting it right, and we see certain organizations getting it wrong. And we see the most talented QBs coming out of the draft look broken. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all these QBs. It takes a good organization, it takes a good coaching staff to develop a QB and to not break them. With what's going on with Trevor Lawrence, he's a QB that is broken. That can be fixed, but that is broken. If I had to compare Trevor Lawrence to the type of broken vase, I would say half of the vase is broken. A large piece of the vase is broken, but it's not shattered in pieces. So
Okay.
it can be easily fixed, in my opinion. That's how I look at with Trevor Lawrence. I see the talent is still there. I see he can still make a bunch of plays, but he's still broken. Sometimes, even when you are broken, you can't be fixed. In the case of, let's say, Carson Wentz, he's shattered. You can't fix him. And that's where the Jaguars need to be careful, because it can get to that point where you can just shatter a QB and you can never fix him again. It could be a bunch of smaller pieces, and there's no redeeming that QB. I just wanted to say that because I just wanted to get that started real quick, because I feel like it's just been a growing sort of theme when it comes to the NFL these past few years, developing quarterbacks. And this new group of quarterbacks coming out of college will be the same thing. Depending on where they go, depending on their situation, will determine their fate. And I just look at what's going on right now with Caleb Williams, with Jaden Daniels, with Bo Nix, with Drake May, even though he hasn't played yet. In order for the next group of quarterbacks to really reach their potential, it's going to boil down to the coaching. It's going to boil down to the organization. And that's how I look at it. All right, let's turn our attention to Thursday Night Football. We're going to get to Trevor Lawrence. We're going to get to the Jags a little bit later. But I want to go to Thursday Night Football because that was an amazing game. Best Thursday Night Football game by far. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
So I was really happy to see that we finally get an entertaining game. I knew it was going to be a really good game from just how the offense looked in the first quarter. So the Falcons offense was moving down the field. The Buccaneers offense, they were moving down the field, and they were going back and forth a lot of the game. And I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those like high-scoring games. I didn't expect 500 passing yards from Kirk Cousins.
Nope.
I'm never betting the under on passing yards again for QBs, because for whatever reason, every time I do it, these QBs end up having all-time regular season passing number performances. Like Jared Goff last week on Monday night, he didn't have an incompletion. He was 18 for 18, perfect passer rating. He was phenomenal. And Kirk Cousins almost broke the all-time regular season passing yards record for a game. He had over 500 yards. I saw a post on Twitter that somebody said, in NBA terms, like, what is like a 500-yard game compared to like just scoring in the NBA for one game? Like, what is the comparison?
Someone actually broke down the math in the comments. So they said the average points per game for, I don't know why he chose a shooting guard, but he said for the average points per game for a shooting guard is like, I think he said like 27 or something like that for a top end shooting guard, I guess. And so then he said he did some math and it equaled out to like 57 points.
57 points for 500 yards? I think it's like a 70-point game, because the way that the NFL works is that 500-yard passing game is very rare. Like, not many people have done it, and I think 70 points, I don't know where, I think somebody said that's like 15th all time on the pecking order in terms of like where you will rank it in like how many points are scored in like one game. So I look at Kirk Cousins' performance, I look at it as like a 70-point game, because that's very rare. I think the last time somebody has gotten a 500-yard game was like in 2021. Somebody said 2021, and then before that, I think Big Ben may have done it.
Nope, wrong.
Whoa! Oh, don't tell me it was Dak Prescott. It was Dak Prescott.
Cleveland Browns game 2020 had 500 yards passing.
Wow, was that the game? Wait, is that the year he broke his leg?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he was going crazy. Yeah. Wow, 500 yards, Dak Prescott.
And we lost.
Yeah, y'all lost
because that defense was selling.
Well, who's the defensive coordinator?
Mike Nolan.
Yep. Yeah. So, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So I guess before Dak it was Big Ben. But regardless, it's very rare. It doesn't happen every single year, and the way the QBs are looking, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So just letting you know. But the game itself, it was entertaining. I enjoyed a whole lot of it. Kirk Cousins was phenomenal. That offense is finally got a groove on. This is the offense that we kind of expected. We knew that they had a lot of talent. Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Bijan, you have Tyler Algier, you have a semi-decent offensive line, and then you bring in a QB that is one of the better QBs in NFL. You have a play caller that's coming from the McVay/Shanahan tree. We're like, okay, this should work. This should be a more explosive, a more dynamic offense.
Right.
And they've been struggling the first 4 weeks of the season, but for week 5, albeit Thursday night, against a quality opponent on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Huh?
On a short week, too.
Yeah, on a short week. To see that offense get in a groove, I was very impressed. And anybody that tries to belittle this performance, shame on you. This was a fantastic performance by the Falcons.
Yeah, it was a good old-fashioned shootout. And, you know, we've been wanting to see these type of games ever since you complained that the college has been better. The NFL started turning up and points were scoring back-to-back games and everything like that. So, yeah, it was a fantastic game. I was thoroughly enjoying my viewing experience, and it was great for fantasy.
Yeah, it was.
It was great for fantasy. And what I liked about the Falcons offense was that they didn't get the run game going. They ran a lot of outside zones for Bijan for whatever reason. I know you want to avoid running right into Vita Vea because he's a monster, but I feel like Bijan, he can run between the tackles.
He can.
And it says they run the most outside zones in the league, I believe, the Falcons. So I'm like, I don't know if that's the best for Bijan's development or whatever, but hey, do what you do. But I like how the offense, Kirk Cousins was dealing all night. He was spreading the ball. People was getting catches like Hodges. I was like, who the hell was this guy?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was crazy.
McLeod.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney had a big game. He scored like 20-something fantasy points on my team. Good thing I started him right before the game too.
Wow.
But yeah, man, it was a great performance. On the Buccaneers side too, there was a great game as well. Baker Mayfield played really good football. He was spreading the ball out evenly as well. Couldn't get the run game going yet again. Like Rashad White had a really long run, but still ended up with less yards per attempt than Bucky Irvin, I believe, which is insanity. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, no defense was being played, but it was still a fun game. I enjoyed my experience.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun game. That one throw Baker Mayfield made in the end zone
to Slayton.
Yeah,
that was
crazy. That was an amazing throw. It looked like Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers-esque, and that just lets you know, like, just the fact that coaching, confidence matters, and in previous teams that he was on, he wasn't making those passes, but with confidence, with coaching, he has become one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, and that was an amazing throw. I had a blast watching this game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that two QBs that they're not Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson are able to throw for those many yards, those many touchdowns, and put on the show for us, I really enjoyed it. And that's what makes the NFL great. That's what makes the NFL enjoyable to watch. And I'm glad we're starting to get back into that. Maybe it's just, again, not playing a whole lot of preseason. It's going to take some time for these offenses to get in the groove. Some new offensive coordinators, some bad offensive coordinators. It's going to take time. And finally, after I called out the NFL by saying, hey, college football has been playing better than you guys the first 4 weeks of the season, the next week, what do? They finally play well. I finally see more scoring. The Vikings versus Packers game, we see some scoring. Detroit versus Seattle, we see some scoring. Other games, we see some scoring. Even the Steelers and the Colts, we see some scoring. That's what we need. I don't want to see a whole bunch of, defensive games. I want to see more scoring. And for the fact that we're finally getting to a place where the reason why I started falling in love with the NFL is because of scoring, not because of good defenses. No, it's because of scoring. And it was just a great feeling. It was a breath of fresh air. I will say this though, the Buccaneers, they completely lost this game. They coughed it up at the end. I don't know what the hell that was all about.
That blocked field goal.
Yeah, they did enough. They blocked the field goal. Younghoe Koo. Yeah. I thought, okay, the Buccaneers, they probably got this game in the bag. Nope. And that final drive that they had before going to overtime, I don't know what that was all about. I don't know what they were trying to do there, but just a lack of execution, a lack of just good play calling in that mark. Because I was talking to my cousin, he's a Falcons fan, and he was like, don't go for it, punt it. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really make a difference because even if you punt it, okay, if they just get a couple first downs, the game is over regardless. So if you're able to keep them to a field goal, you still have an opportunity to win the game. I think they would have gone up 6, could have won the game. So it doesn't really matter if whatever field position, as long as they're not in the red zone, then you're good. So for the Falcons to go for it on 4th and 15, I didn't mind it at all because I understand that it doesn't really matter what field position they're in. I mean, if they kick a field goal, you still have an opportunity to win. And that's what they did. And they were able to get it to overtime, and they won the game. And Raheem Morris, he was all happy seeing Kirk Cousins that final drive in regulation when he was able to spike the ball and get Younghoe Koo the ability to kick a field goal. If that was Aaron Rodgers, he would have pushed them to the side like he did with Robert Saleh. But, it's good to see Raheem Morris get that win. It seems like they're starting to build something. Seems like all those whispers of Michael Penix Jr. starting, we can finally put that to bed because it seems like they found an identity. I will say the running game could be a lot better. I think they still need to find a way to get Bijan more involved, find an identity, find some sort of run scheme that really works for Bijan and Algier, because in order for them to really go somewhere, in order for them to win the division, I think you really need Bijan. You really need Algier to start finding a rhythm, start finding a groove, because at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins, he can't move around. He can only do so much in the pocket. And I don't see 500 yards. I don't see this amount of passing attempts from him. I think he had over 50 passing attempts. It was ridiculous. I don't see that as a winning formula for the Falcons. I think this is a one-off. And so in order for them to win, they need a balance. They need to balance it out with the running and the passing, and that's how they're going to win. This was a great win. Don't get me wrong, but in order to continue to win and if you want to be in the running for, let's say, the division, or even let's say to win a couple playoff games, you're going to have to get the running game going in order to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that the running back campaign is over now? Because the first 3 weeks of the season, everybody was like, oh, the running game is back. And then now we see in teams that's having, not even 100 yards rushing and they winning games. This is a few teams like the Ravens running the ball well. The J.K. Dobbins campaign is over.
Yeah, that's over.
He's cooked food. So now it's okay, now the passing game is working wonders again. It was a little 3-week fad for the run truthers.
I wouldn't say that. I feel I think the running backs that came out of nowhere and then started going crazy like J.K. Dobbins, I think that's over. I don't think we're gonna see 100+ yards from J.K. Dobbins in back-to-back weeks. But I think like a Saquon, I think like a Jonathan Taylor when he's healthy, like all these really good running backs, I think they're still gonna be involved. It's just the other running backs, leaning on them a lot more in the first couple of weeks, I think that's probably gone. And you're probably right on that mark right there, because I think what happened was the fact that, again, like preseason, the lack of reps, you're going to lean on the running game a little bit more, try to get that involved because you're still working on trying to figure out the passing concepts in the passing game. I think we are going to lean more heavily on the passing game as the weeks go on and on. I mean, the Bears, Caleb Williams, he was passing a little bit more. A lot less passing attempts compared to the Houston Texans game, but a lot more efficient. And DeAndre Swift, it was like a balance with that. So I think, yeah, it's going to be a lot more passing for sure. It's going to be a lot more balance. My question is, and we're going to get to this, but the Chargers and how are they going to operate offensively? Because against the Chiefs, they didn't have much of offense, and I'm concerned for the future of that team because I'm not sold at all. But yeah, Thursday Night Football, great. Can't wait for next week. There's going to be some really good matchups actually coming up very soon. A lot of rivalries, a lot of in-division
The next Thursday
games.
game might be a banger, too.
It's the 49ers Seahawks, which is great. That could go either way, though. Yeah. I don't know who's on the road and who's at home.
I think the Seahawks are home.
That can go either way because I can see a scenario where the Seahawks could blow out the 49ers. I think either two things are going to happen. It's going to be a competitive game or it's going to be a blowout. I don't see anything other than that. I don't think it's going to be an ugly game. If it's a competitive game, I don't think it's going to be an ugly game. I think Seattle is too good and the 49ers have such a creative offense. But then there's the other scenario where I think Seattle could blow them out. I think Seattle could like really make this an unwatchable affair, depending on how they want to, because of that defense. I know the defense, they gave up all those yards and points against the Lions the past week, but the Lions, like, they're healthy, they're really good, they have an amazing play caller, an amazing offense. They were on the road, it's Monday night, so I can see that happening, but against the 49ers, that's banged up, the guys are hurt, Christian McCaffrey's not there, we don't even know if he's going to really come back, like, there's question marks about that. I can see where the Seahawks could take advantage of that.
That's fair.
So, but we'll talk about that a little bit later down the road. You know, things could always change. But I want to get to let's see what we got here. Let's get to the games. Let's get to the picking the games real quick. All right, so let's get to picking the games real quick. What we got?
Jets and Vikings.
Yeah.
London game.
So just looking at the injury report. Okay. So, Morgan Moses is expected to be out. C.J. Mosley is doubtful. Everybody else seems like they're going to be good to go. For the Vikings side of things, what we have here?
Not much.
Yeah, they're relatively healthy, honestly. Yeah. So, this game is going to be a 9:30 game. The Jets need this game badly.
Yeah.
This is a call for desperation. I don't think they win this game, though. I feel like this is the worst week to be desperate for the win. I will say that the Vikings defense is good. Don't get me wrong. But I think eventually they will get exposed. The offense will always be the offense, but I think the defense could get exposed one day. Just not this week. Not against the Jets, because the Jets are a hot mess right now. That offense. What did I tell you about Garrett Wilson? Like a couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, Garrett Wilson, it was that Thursday Night Football game. I was like, hey, I know y'all won, but you need to get it together because Aaron Rodgers, it's all about trust. It's all about making sure that both of y'all are on the same page. If you're not, he's not going to throw to you. That's just the old school quarterback mindset. That's the Peyton Manning mindset. That's the Tom Brady mindset, Drew Brees, all these dudes. Like, if you're not on the same page with the quarterback, like a Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to throw it to you, and you need to get it together. And that's why they need Devontae Adams. They need Devontae Adams. Like, there's no question about it, because what he does, he brings just a veteran leadership that can help Garrett Wilson. Because they play relatively similar in a way. They have like similar styles. He could be a mentor to Garrett Wilson, and he understands the offense. Nathaniel Hackett came from the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he understands the cadence. They have chemistry already there. They need him, like, desperately, because Garrett Wilson's not ready to be a number one. Not yet. He's fantastic, but he's not ready to be a number one. They're not going to win this game. I got the Vikings this game.
I mean, I don't blame you. The Vikings are playing better football on the offensive end, at least. And I trust their coaching staff more than the Jets coaching. I tell you that much. But I don't know. I feel like
the
Vikings being 5-0 just sounds kind of crazy.
I mean,
doable, but it just sounds crazy.
Do you think the Jets have the right mindset to upset a team like the Vikings that beat all these other great teams?
Now that is true.
I don't know.
Any given Sunday.
I don't know if they have that mindset, though, because I'm looking at it from a perspective of, okay, coaching, who has the edge? Vikings.
Okay.
Easily. Quarterback, obviously Aaron Rodgers, but like the offense itself, Vikings. Defense, I would say split even, because I think the Jets' defense has been phenomenal. The Vikings are more of like scheme. The scheme has been great. So it sort of overcomes like some of the deficiencies from like the talent on the Vikings. So I'll probably give like even the Vikings and the Jets. But overall, like, the offense is like, it's not even close. And I like Aaron Rodgers, but if your players aren't on the same page with you and the coaching has like question marks about your cadence, I don't see them being the team to upset.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you believe the other way, then go right ahead. You had a good week last week, so
I did. I'm gonna go with the Jets. I'm probably gonna regret it. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Wow. Okay.
I just have a bad feeling. I just have a bad feeling about this one.
Do you think the running game, they'll be able to get the running game going?
They have to. They have to. Or they will not win this game if they don't.
Let me look at, because I'm curious. I'm curious to know, like, what exactly are the Vikings like defensive metrics when it comes to opposing rushing yards per game, because they're like number 2.
Good, yeah.
They're number 2 in the league. Oh God. Oh Lord. Number 2 in opposing rushing yards per game. What is their passing? Well, the Jets don't really have much of a passing game outside of Garrett Wilson, so it doesn't really matter when it comes to the passing. Jets are number 2. Let's see, where are the Vikings? Minnesota's 32.
And passing yards allowed?
Yeah. But
how much does that, because they was blowing out teams.
They were.
So, they obviously going to pass the ball instead of run.
They were. But they don't have the greatest corners in the world. I mean, like, like Byron Murphy is phenomenal, but like after Byron Murphy, there's not really a corner that I look to and I say, oh yeah, he is like lockdown. They do have Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. But in this stage of his career, is he like really locked down? Like he's like he's good, like he's serviceable. He's like middle of the pack. So
he's like Sherman on the Niners.
Yeah, well, I say a little less than Sherman on the Niners.
A little less?
Yeah, a little less. Sherman was all pro.
When he was on the Niners?
Yeah, he was. He made second team all pro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, then a little less.
Yeah, a little less. I'll think of a comparison one day. But anywho, yeah, man, they're like 32nd. But they have relatively good defense. I just think they're not the team that's gonna upset them. It's probably gonna be another team, just not today. All right, let's go to the other games on the list. Let's see what we got here.
Ravens and Bengals.
Yeah.
This is a game the Bengals, they pretty much have to win.
Yeah, they have to win.
Because if they end up 1-4, the season might be over for them.
Yeah, they
and
have
that
to
is a severe disappointment for a team led by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and company. So I'm gonna still go with the Ravens though. The Ravens just been playing. Actually, What's the spread? Baltimore's 2.5 favorites on the road.
Let's see what we got here. So, just looking at the injury report, it doesn't seem like the Ravens are going to be missing a whole lot of, like, very important impact players. So, they're going to be relatively healthy. A lot of their best players are going to be there for the game. Just looking at the Bengals side of things, let's see what we got here. It's a lot of questionables. Sheldon Rankins, he's doubtful. What we got here?
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, Miles Murphy questionable. Jackson McKinley's questionable. Mike Hilton is questionable. Everybody else is pretty much healthy.
Yeah, give me the Ravens. I think the Ravens, I feel like they figured something out, and especially on the offensive end, and the defense has stepped up recently. I know it's going to be hard to cover Higgins and Chase and all those dudes, but the Ravens, I've just been more impressed with the Ravens recently. You know, it's Lamar Jackson. You can't never count him out. So
They're at Cincinnati.
Yeah. Let me go. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
I mean, logic says Ravens. They have the better defense, the better offense, the running game, which Bengals can't stop. But it is the divisional game. They're going to be on the road. You are playing against Joe Burrow, but the Ravens have had Joe Burrow's number for whatever reason. I feel like I might regret this, but I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. I think just they've been playing a lot better. My only caution is the Ravens play with their food too much. Like they'll play down to the competition. But here's the thing, they're playing against the Bengals that they've owned for so many years. Even when the Ravens haven't played their best football, when they play the Bengals, they always seem to answer the call. So I'm going to go with the Ravens this game. I just think the Bengals and that defense is just a lost cause. Like, I don't see how Lou Anarumo can figure out a way to get this defense to play a lot better. Against the Chiefs, they played well because they know the Chiefs, they know that offense, they understand what they need to do, and that Chiefs offense has been god-awful this year. But against this Ravens team, it seems like they found an identity on the running game scheme, on the passing game scheme, and I just see Lamar Jackson having another really, really solid game. I see Derrick Henry having another really, really solid game, and I expect them to win the game. And, yeah, that's just me. Let's go to let's go to Cincinnati let's go to the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. Buffalo Bills will be on the road. This is another great matchup. 1 p.m. matchup. I don't understand why this is on 1 p.m. This should be like a primetime game. But regardless, it is what it is. Just looking at the injury report for the Bills, Oliver's going to be out. Taylor Rapp is going to be out. Khalil Shakir is going to be out. Those are three major losses for the Bills. Those are three guys that are either starting in big, rotation for them. So that's a huge loss for them. For the Houston Texans, let's see what we got. Who is
Joe Mixon is out.
Yep.
Damian Pierce is questionable.
Jerry Hughes,
Derek Barnett, and no Jerry Hughes.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not really missing a whole lot. Joe Mixon one is a big loss, but besides that, they're not missing a whole lot. This game, I'm curious with the Bills against the Ravens, did they get exposed or was that just a one-off? Because going against the Houston Texans, they have talent all over the place. The offense hasn't been that good. It's been a little underwhelming. We thought it'd be a little bit better, but again, like I mentioned minutes ago, when it comes to offenses, no preseason really, still trying to figure out their identity, get the groove on. Is this the game where the Houston Texans, that offense starts to put it together? Or is this still a game that's going to come down to like, okay, defensive matchup, 3-point game, 2017, something around that realm? What do you think?
That Texans offense has been disappointing this year. And, yeah, but the Bills, outside of that Ravens game where they just got ran all over the field, ran off the field essentially, their passing defense has been pretty solid. Like Christian Benford and
Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, they've been high-ranked corners statistically. So I'm expecting Nico Collins obviously to get his game off because but I feel like the Bills win this game. I mean the Texans are only favored by -1. The spread is -1 for the Texans, and you get 3 points for being home, and the money line is even. So I'm like, oof. I think the Bills win this one. I think that Ravens game, you need like a really solid run game against the Bills. And as we can see with the Texans, they really don't. When Joe Mixon is out, they don't really have that. Their run scheme isn't very creative. They do a lot of first down runs, which puts them behind on the. It's just bad. So I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Do you think the Texans defense can do some of the same things that the Ravens defense?
They couldn't even do it to Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good
Granted,
point.
I know it's a divisional game and those just get wonky, but no, I don't think so. I think Joe Brady's a much better play caller than Press Taylor.
You know, you make a great point. I think I'm gonna go with the Bills too. I look at the Bills. Would you say that the Bills have a little bit better of a coaching staff than the Houston Texans?
I feel like offensively, yes. I can't really say because Sean McDermott, he's a good defensive coach, and so is DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco Ryans, yep.
I feel like the Texans have better personnel.
They do. Oh, obviously, yeah.
But
coaching wise, I think they have a little bit of an edge coaching wise, like a little bit of an edge, just from like experience and the fact that they've been there before. Oh man, this is a toughie. It's a 1:00 game. It's not a primetime game, so that gives the Bills a little bit of an edge. Primetime's a little different, crowd is a lot louder, a lot rousier. I think I'll agree with you. I think I'm going to go with the Bills on this one, although on the road, but I'm going to go with the Bills. I just think they have a little bit of a better coaching. Obviously, the quarterback is better, and the running game with James Cook, I expect them to get it going a little bit better, and I think Josh Allen will get back to spreading the ball around. He'll be a lot more comfortable, although they have, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
Yeah.
Like you said with the Jaguars game, that defense looked a little suspect. I think against the Bills, they can take advantage of that. It doesn't seem like the Bills are missing a whole lot on the offensive end besides Khalil Shakir. But how big of a loss is Khalil Shakir really? Like, they
got to get Keon Coleman involved.
Yeah, he is a starting wide receiver, but I don't think he's like hard to replace in my eyes. So I'm gonna go with the Bills this game. All right, let's go to the next game. Let's go to
Panthers and Bears. Or you want to go Colts and Jags?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colts and Jags. This game right here.
This is
I'll say this though. With Joe Flacco at the helm, I got the Colts.
Yeah.
I think what's gonna happen is with Jonathan Taylor out, they're gonna pass the ball a lot more. It's gonna be a lot more running back by committee with Trey Sermon and whoever else is the running back. So yeah, I think this team. I think the Jaguars are a lost cause. I think they're a broken team, and they're probably a few losses away from the organization just tearing it apart. So I like the Colts this game. I think they obviously have the better coach team. I think the quarterback with Joe Flacco at the helm, I think he'll put up a good amount of points. Just looking at some things, they're going to be without Kenny Moore. Anthony Richardson. Well, then again, Anthony Richardson is questionable. He did have a limited participation in practice.
Yep.
You know what? That changes everything. That changes everything. Let me look at Jacksonville. So Jacksonville, they have Darnell Savage is questionable. Devin Lloyd.
Josh Allen is questionable.
Evan Ingram is questionable. He might come back. You know what? I know the Jags are one of the worst teams in the league. I think I'm going to go with the Jags this game.
Yeah, I think I would go.
I think I'm going to Jags.
Simply because, if it's they're due for one. They're due for a win.
Yeah, and I think Anthony Richardson's going to play, so that changes everything. I'm gonna go with the Jags this game. I think they're going to get one off the Colts division game. They're at home. They nearly beat the Texans. They're knocking on the door of getting their first win.
People are coaching for their jobs at this point. Because if they lose this game, it's over.
Oh yeah, Press Taylor,
people's getting fired as soon as the clock hits 0. They will announce the firings on Twitter.
I love how like all this attention is now going towards the coaching for the Jacksonville Jaguars when I've been talking about this for the past 2 years.
Yeah, you have.
It's so funny just seeing how everything is starting to come to light when it comes to Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, and the fact that I didn't know that Press Taylor was on the coaching staff for the Eagles when Doug Peterson was the head coach. And it's just funny how everything comes full circle. You see what happened with Carson Wentz and how he deteriorated year after year after year. Like, Carson Wentz was once a actually good QB. He nearly won the MVP before he got hurt. I think it was either week 13 or 14. Next year rolls around, he gets a little bit worse. He was still good, but gets a little bit worse. Then the next year, he gets a little bit worse. Like, just a trickle-down effect. And then ultimately, now he's broken. He's shattered pieces. The same can be applied with Trevor Lawrence, where, okay, first year wasn't good at all. Second year, Doug Peterson comes along. He has this amazing second half of the season. Then third year, it's like, okay, where's the improvement? It's a little bit of a regression. And then this year, it's just like, damn. Another regression. It's like, nosedive. Just see so many similarities. Somebody compared him to Carson Wentz. I was like, wow, that is a great comparison, because that's literally what's happening right now. Because Carson Wentz, he was this very talented QB coming out, 6'4", 6'5". You're like, man, this dude got a rocket arm. And after year 4, it's just now he's a backup. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jacksonville on this one. I didn't like the tape I saw from Jacksonville, but I'm gonna go Jacksonville on this one. Let's go to the Patriots and the Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Patriots this game. I think Patriots get their first win. They're at home.
You mean second win?
Oh yeah, second win. I forgot they beat the Bengals. They're gonna get their second win. It feels like they haven't won a game at all, but they're gonna get their second win against Miami. Miami, they are a lost cause. They are legit nothing without Tua.
Yeah.
This is a classic example of invest in your backup quarterback, especially when your starting quarterback is injury prone. Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle, that's not gonna do it. You got to invest in your backup QB, because if not, you're gonna end up like the Dolphins, that are pretty much now in the running for a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. And if I'm the Dolphins, Tua, go on vacation, because we're trying to get Cam Ward. We're trying to get Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders, because you're always injured. That's just me. But, in reality, they're probably not going to do that. Tua's probably going to want to play, and that's just not a good idea. Like, you're just going to jeopardize your health. I don't even need to see the injury report to pick the Patriots. I really don't.
Yeah, that offense with them backup QBs just looks putrid.
They lost to the Titans.
Yeah, they did.
They got dominated by the Titans. Like, the Titans scored over 30.
Yeah.
This is a broken team. Miami Dolphins are a broken team. Like, once Tua went down, I think the entire team was like, oh, season's over.
Yeah, just can't get anything going on offense. And yes, I'm gonna go with the Patriots too. It's even odds, so I'm gonna just go with the Patriots. They the home team. I'll go. They have the better quarterback starting, and even they probably have a better one on the bench too.
Yeah, and like the Dolphins are so top heavy. Like they paid all these players, these guys that are like close to their 30s or in their 30s, all this money, and they're not reaping the benefit like they thought. And like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey. You paid Bradley Chubb those years ago, and he hasn't really produced for you. You let go of your best defensive player in Christian Wilkins, which was a huge mistake just to keep Jalen Ramsey for all that money. Like, there's just a lot going on with the Miami Dolphins. Chris Greer, he needs to get it together. That's the GM for the Miami Dolphins. They got to figure out something, because right now this team is nosediving really fast. A promising team is now looking like a rebuild really quickly if they don't figure something out, because this is not what we thought the Dolphins were going to be. And with Tua going down, it's just crashing and burning before our very eyes. So let's go to the next game. Let's go to the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. This is the 4:00 game.
We missed some 1 p.m. games.
Oh, I'm just going off of the injury report,
okay.
Because I don't have to like keep scrolling and stuff. But yeah, Arizona versus San Francisco. Arizona's on the road. I don't like this Arizona offense at all. I watched them versus the Commanders. another team where the offensive coordinator it just seems like doesn't have a good feel for just offensive play calling. The passing concept's too predictable. Kyler Murray has to make something out of nothing. Not getting Marvin Harrison Jr. involved enough. It's just a lot of question marks when it comes to that Cardinals offense. It should be a lot better. I will say that the numbers do say something different. I was looking at some metrics. I heard some metrics when it comes to the numbers. I think it may have been the quarterback and the wide receiver. Positive numbers, but when you look at the tape, when you look at the results, the offense just doesn't look that good. Like, they're not scoring a whole lot of touchdowns, even though they're efficient, or the wide receiver is getting a lot of separation and the quarterback is playing efficient football.
Well, it's one receiver getting a lot of separation.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. But like
everybody else is towards bottom of the league.
But when you look at like the scoring wise, they're not scoring enough points, and that's just doesn't make any sense. When you have Trey McBride, you have James Conner, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have the other receiver on the other side, Wilson. But you have all these dudes. Greg Dortch, he's a nice little gadget guy. You have all these dudes. There's no excuse to not at least score over 20 a game.
Yeah.
Now they just like the fact that the offense couldn't get a groove on against the Commanders is a major concern, because the Commanders have one of the worst secondaries in the league, one of the worst defenses in the league, and they couldn't score on the Commanders. So that's something we talked about this like a few days ago. My anger towards the offensive play caller, the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. will have a great drive and then he'll disappear. Like that, I don't understand that. And I don't see them beating the 49ers on the road. Something has to change on the offensive play calling side of things, certain passing concepts, how you game plan when it comes to involving Marvin Harrison Jr., because right now it just seems like they're a lost cause offensively, and defensively they're not that good either.
Yeah, no, they're not at all.
Who's the head coach? Jonathan Gannon? Like, yeah. He's supposed to be like this defensive guru coming into a situation like the Arizona Cardinals. Like, that defense is supposed to be light out, but right now it's not looking that way.
I know. I don't think they have the dudes yet to even be a good defense. I think the 49ers are gonna have their way with them.
But like you can mask away, like you can do some things schematically to at least make the defense relatively respectable. This defense is not even respectable. Like it's a laughing stock. I look at the Vikings, for example. Like, they don't have the best talent in the world, but they still make it work, and they're still one of the better defenses in the NFL. Now, albeit the Vikings have a little bit better talent, but Arizona Cardinals, you bring in a guy that had the number one defense in the NFL. Like, he was the Eagles. They were the number one defense in the NFL. They had the most sacks. They have the best secondary. Like, Darius Slay actually looked like a great cornerback with him, and then you go to the Cardinals, and it's just a terrible defense. It reminds me of Dan Quinn with the Falcons. He goes to the Falcons, nothing changes. So, like, what does he do if the defense isn't good? Like, what do you do? And I just don't see them beating this 49ers team.
Yeah, at all. I think with the Cardinals defense is most teams like to play find the scrub, but there's a bunch of scrubs on the Cardinals. So, yeah, good luck trying to hide them dudes. But 49, I think they're going to boat race them, honestly. 7-point spread, I'd take that, honestly. The Cardinals, they won't be able to stop Jordan Mason, I don't think. And Jordan Mason not even he's not the greatest running back, but when has the Cardinals showed us they could stop the run?
They haven't.
Exactly.
I'll be completely shocked.
And Brock Purdy, honestly, Brock Purdy is playing some solid ball.
That interception last week was bad. That was
crazy.
Bad. I was like, did you not see there was like 2 DBs in the area? Like, what are you looking at? But he's still playing really good football. Like, the fact that they're dealing with injuries and he's still able to overcome, albeit he did have Ayuk and Debo back, but he still has injuries, and they're figuring out a way to win. They're 2-2 right now, so they're still in the thick of things. But I still have the 49ers. I'll be shocked if the Cardinals win this game.
If Fred Warner is indeed out,
Ooh.
the Cardinals' chances go up
Oh, yeah.
exponentially.
Wait, he's on
He's
the injury
questionable.
report?
Yeah.
Wow, hold on. He did participate in practice. He was limited in practice, so that's a good thing.
I think he'll play just because he's just tough. But
Yeah, he's tough-minded. It doesn't seem like they're going to be missing a whole lot of, like, big names, unless it's like Fred Warner and George Kittle. Everybody else is pretty much going to play. Okay, let's go to the Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. This is a snooze fest. I'm not going to be watching this game. This is a red zone type of game right here. So they're going to be in Denver. No Devontae Adams, no Max Crosby. They won last week against who did they lose? The Jets? No, it wasn't the Jets.
You talk about the Raiders?
Yeah,
They beat the Browns.
the Browns. Well, the Browns are pretty bad. I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos on this one. I like their defense. I think they have a little bit better coaching going. They are starting a rookie, but again, I mean, they went on the road. They beat the Jets.
And he only threw for 60 yards.
I think this defense is going to play amazing football yet again, and with no Devontae Adams, it's going to be really, really hard for Gardner Minshew to really get something going. That running game, I don't think they're going to do much. Zamir Wright is supposed to be out this game.
He stinks anyway.
Yeah, he does stink. So Alexander Madison is going to be the one. With
It's going to be a low-scoring game.
It's going to be a very low-scoring game. I see this being like a 10-7 game at best. And, yeah, that's how I look at it. The Broncos, they're not going to be missing a whole lot of people. Anyway, they're relatively healthy. So, yeah, give me the Broncos.
Who's the Broncos defensive coordinator?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because they've been playing really good.
Yeah, he's been balling out.
Yeah.
They've been balling out. I didn't expect the defense to be this good. So, congrats. See, again, when you don't have the greatest talent in the world, you can, if you have a phenomenal play caller that can scheme stuff up, you can still have a respectable defense. And that's why I look at the Cardinals and I say to myself, yo, Jonathan Gannon, what's going on? Like, you're supposed to be this guru. And
it's Vance Joseph.
Oh. I mean, I think he was on the Cardinals at one point, and the defense wasn't all that great.
Wait, is it? Yeah, it is Vance Joseph. Oh,
remember he was on the Broncos. I remember he was on the Broncos.
Wasn't Vance Joseph the head coach for the Broncos?
He was.
Yeah.
And I think he was on the Cardinals as well. He didn't. I don't think the defense was all that good when he was on the Cardinals. Seahawks are going to win this game going away. They're at home. Right. This is going to be like a 20-point game. I expect a major blowout for them. Offense is going to be grooving on all cylinders. Let's go to the Packers versus the Rams. So let's see here. I don't know. I got to look at the injury report. So goodness. Jair Alexander, he's questionable. He did practice. Kenny Clark practiced. Edgerrin Cooper practiced. Romeo Doubs did not practice. Now, reports are saying that Romeo Doubs did not practice because he was mad that he wasn't getting a whole lot of that the game planning, he wasn't getting a whole lot of like just touches, a lot, like they weren't really focusing on him in the system and the offense, and that's why he didn't practice. I don't know if that's true or not. I understand it was reported. It could be just a rumor, but if that is true, Romeo Doubs, shame on you, because Christian Watson is out, so that means they're going to go to you a lot more. You're going to get a bigger role. So I don't see how that helps you at all. It's just a bad look because they reported that it was personal, and I was thinking, oh, something's going on maybe in his life. But if it's just he's just furious that he's not getting involved as much, then that's on you, bro. That is on you. We can't do much about that, and I don't know what to really say. Jonathan Ford, he's questionable. Elton Jenkins is questionable. Jordan Morgan is questionable. Luke Musgrave. A lot of people are questionable. Devontae Wyatt, he's out. Christian Watson is doubtful. I already knew that. He's going to be out. Carrington Valentine, a starting corner, is questionable. A lot of guys are questionable, but majority of them have practiced, limited practicing. Here's my thing with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm a bit concerned with the pass rush. Besides the Titans game, the pass rush hasn't been all that good. Rashawn Gary has regressed. Lucas Van Ness has not been that good. Like, he's not been the player that I thought he was going to be. Preston Smith, he's regressed. Devontae Wyatt was probably our best like player on the defensive line, but now he's out with an injury. He's going to be out for like multiple weeks. I just don't like this pass rush at all. I expect the Rams to run like crazy against us. Kyron Williams is going to probably get 2 touchdowns on us. And then Romeo Doubs, like him missing practice, possibly not even playing, is a big loss. And then you have Christian Watson missing time. I'll go with the Packers, but it wouldn't shock me that they lose this game, because if your pass rush is not going to be able to get consistent pressure against the Rams, and if your receiving core is all banged up, we do have quality. I wouldn't say quality, but we do have depth. We do have guys that we can plug in. They understand the system. They understand where they need to be. So that's good. But the defense at the end of the day needs to show up. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest concern. And to see that a lot of people are questionable, especially Jair Alexander with a groin injury. He was limited in practice, but those get a bit dicey. Like, those get a bit dicey. Those, like, you can feel good one day, but then the next day, like going all the way up to, before the game starts, you might be feeling something. The groin injuries are a bit dicey, so but I'll just go with my team just because I believe, like, Jordan Love is playing, and I think that I believe in the coaching staff. I believe that they'll figure something out. And the Rams, they haven't been playing good football at all. Defensively, they haven't been playing good football, and offensively, they're missing, obviously, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. So I'll just go with my team.
I'm gonna go with the Packers just because I simply, if it turns into a band for band, I feel like the Packers will just win.
They're on the road, but it's not much of a home game for the Rams anyway. So
yeah.
All right, let's go to the next game on the list: Cowboys versus Steelers. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. How you feeling about this game?
Not good. Considering all the injuries we have, and then now Brandon Cooks is ruled out. So now Jalen Tolbert is our wide receiver too. Not very confident about this one. But the thing that's worrying, I feel like we're going to lose.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys are going to lose. But I absolutely can see them somehow winning, which is crazy to me. The Steelers are favored by 2.5 points. Not even the full 3 points you get for being home. Yep. And one team is 3-1, one team is 2-2, and with injuries. So this could very well, I think most people expect the Cowboys to lose. This could very well be the game where Vegas pulls the rug from under people and say, how you thought it was. But I'm gonna go with the Steelers though. The Steelers, the defense has been playing lights out, mostly outside of that game, the Colts game where Joe Flacco did them boys in. But yeah, I mean the Cowboys, they haven't got much of a run game going this season, and the passing game has been stagnant. A lot of old school route concepts, not a lot of motion, not enough play action usage. Dak's having to make so many tight window throws, and it's just bad for accuracy and possibly putting the ball in harm's way. I believe he has 7 turnover-worthy plays already. And, yeah, man, I just don't see the Cowboys winning this game because it seems like in Justin Fields, I don't think the defense is going to be able to stop Justin Fields.
I remember 2 or 3 years ago, Justin Fields and the Bears came to Dallas, and Justin Fields ran like just crazy against you guys. Like that
game was
dominant.
Closer than it should have been for sure.
Yeah, it was.
They ain't really get a little out of hand until towards like the fourth quarter.
Here's my thing: Jalen Warren is going to be out. Alex Highsmith is going to be out. Cordell Patterson is going to be out. So those are like big key. Those are the big losses for them. Everybody else is relatively healthy. A bunch of other guys are like backups and stuff like that. This one, I agree with you that it can go either way depending on the situation. I'll probably go with the Steelers. I think the offense is It's not the best because I think the second half they were great. Like Justin Fields was phenomenal the second half, but the first half they were awful. Like against the Colts, like the offense, you're not able to move down the field. Like the Colts have their defense is not all that good. So that's a very concerning sign. But they're at home. It's an 8:00 game. The defense is still relatively good. You lose Micah Parsons. That's a huge loss for them. I'll probably go with the Steelers this game. I'm not all that confident because, again, Justin Fields, as much as I like Justin Fields as a person and as a player, there are these tendencies where he plays below his competition. Like, you expect him to play a lot better, but against certain teams like the Cowboys with that dealing with injuries that don't have the best players on their field, he still, for whatever reason, can struggle. But just off of my judgment, I'll go with the Steelers this game. I'm not going to bet on it, but I'm going to go with the Steelers this game.
I wouldn't bet on this game either, I'm going to be honest.
No. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. What else we got? We got Monday night. We got Kansas City. We got New Orleans Saints at Kansas City. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs this game. I just think New Orleans, it feels like they're starting to nosedive a little bit. They lost back-to-back games. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Falcons. Now they're going to Kansas City, albeit Kansas City is missing Rashee Rice. I just think at home, Monday night, 8:00 game, it's going to be hard for the New Orleans Saints to really get a groove on offensively. Their offense has been deteriorating every single week. Derek Carr, he's throwing a lot of picks now. He's going back to the old Derek Carr that we know. I like Kansas City. It's going to be an ugly game, but I think whoever doesn't turn the ball over and whoever doesn't make the key mistakes at the end of the game to cost their team will win the game. And I think Kansas City, they're the best at doing that. And they've been getting away with it the entire season. And I believe the Saints, what's going to happen is something's going to go wrong at the end that's going to cost them the game. I think it's going to be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Saints, it could be Derek Carr. It could be a fumble. It could be interception. It could be a bad play call that's going to cost them the game. It could be not taking a timeout. It could be taking a timeout and not having any more timeouts. It could be a missed field goal. Something is going to go wrong because the Chiefs, they have some sort of black magic going on right now. I know we're, towards Halloween right now. They have some sort of spooky, sort of witchcrafty sorcery going on up there in Kansas City because you cannot make this stuff up. The fact that every team that they face in a close game, something goes wrong with the opposing team. It makes absolutely no sense. And I believe that's going to continue with the New Orleans Saints. Something is going to go wrong. It could be a pass interference call. It could be a holding call. It can be a false start. It can be a blocked field goal. Something is going to go wrong in Kansas City for the New Orleans Saints. Something.
Yeah, and a little nugget here. I don't trust the Saints offense to really get the Chiefs number defensively. I just don't see it. Steve Spagnuolo is a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and they are very familiar with Kubiak.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Why you say that?
Because he coached for the Broncos.
Yeah.
2022, he was the offensive pass game coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. Last year, obviously, he was the passing game specialist for the 49ers. And now he's the offensive coordinator for the Saints. They're very familiar with Kubiak. So I don't think he's going to show them anything that they probably haven't seen already, playing them and preparing for the games or whatever. Yeah. So they probably was grinding that tape from last year for the 49ers. They played them in the Super Bowl, obviously. So I feel like it's going to struggle. And, they're familiar with Derek Carr as well. He was just on the Raiders. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Saints. Tough. And the run game hasn't been as good as it was the first 2 weeks. So, and the Chiefs are very stingy in the run game for the most part. So
you need a brilliant offensive mind if you're going to go up in Kansas City and dominate.
Oh, it's in Kansas City
Yeah,
too.
it's in
Oh, yeah,
Kansas
they're
City.
cooked.
Like, you need a Ben Johnson. You need somebody that's very
You also need personnel.
innovative. Yeah, you do.
Because
Well,
if Eric McCoy is still out, it's over.
They have the personnel.
Do they
It's
really?
Just, they do, bro. Like, they do. Chris Olave,
Well, yeah, Chris Olave, yeah.
Rashid Shaheed,
That's if you can get Rashid Shaheed
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill might not play.
Yeah, he might not play.
I don't think he's playing.
But,
His ribs is cooked.
you also have Alvin Kamara. Like, they have the pieces. It's just like play calling wise, is the play caller good enough to scheme something to confuse the defense? You need someone like a Ben Johnson. You need somebody that's very good at
Alvin Kamara is questionable.
He's questionable.
And
okay.
DeMario Davis.
Okay. Well, I still have them winning regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless. So, all right. Let's see.
You missed the game. You missed the
what we miss?
Panthers and Bears.
Panthers and Bears. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with the Bears on that one. I understand like the Panthers, their offense has gotten a little bit
horrible.
Yeah, the Panthers' defense is horrible. The Browns are, the Bengals, they were able to do their number. I just think that the Bears will. This is gonna be another good game for Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams.
I feel like it'll be another step in his development.
I think Caleb Williams is going to have like easily his best game of the season against the Carolina Panthers. I think what's going to happen is Caleb Williams is going to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's going to have over 250 passing yards, and people are going to be like, "Damn, that's the key. That's the number one pick." I expect Caleb Williams to have honestly, masterclass performance. I expect him to be very efficient. I expect him to throw for over, I would say, 65% of his passes being completed. He's gonna have a really good game.
Yeah.
I expect the passing attack to be really, really good. I expect DJ Moore to get it going. It is Shane Waldron. He is a war criminal. But it is Chicago, and Caleb Williams played a lot better last week, and I expect him to play a
Chicago's
lot
defense
better.
is pretty good, better than the Bengals for sure.
Right. So they're going to be good. I don't really need to.
I think they covered a 4-point spread too. Honestly,
I don't even need to look at the injury report to know what's going to happen. I have the Bears winning this game.
Yeah, Panthers are having offensive line injury issues. The center is out, and Robert Hunt is questionable. So.
Yep. All right. Is that it?
We didn't do Browns Commanders. This is the game.
Man.
Let me tell you, I know everyone is high on the Commanders, and honestly, you have a pretty good reason to be. They've been playing some really good ball offensively, but this game here, it's just something about it.
Just irks your mind, huh?
Yeah, it's like it feels like a humbling is going to come. Because the Browns defense, they have been severely underperforming this year.
Yeah.
But they still have dudes.
They do have dudes.
And I know the Commanders' offensive line been blocking very well, but that's still Myles Garrett at the end of the day.
It is. You're right.
Let me look at this injury report.
Noah Brown is out. Who else?
Njoku's questionable. Conklin is questionable. Jedrick Willis is questionable. I mean, Brian Robinson Jr. questionable. That's something.
Yeah, they need Brian.
I don't think Eckler alone is going to get you the win against the Browns.
I think Brian Robinson probably plays though. Unless it's like what was the injury? A knee? Interesting.
And also 80% of the money is on the Commanders. That is concerning.
It is. But I will say this though, I think they will win. And I'm just going off of vibes on this one. First game back in FedEx Field. Well, it's not FedEx Field anymore, but I'm gonna call it FedEx Field.
Western, it's something.
Whatever.
Northwestern.
I'm gonna call it FedEx Field for right now. First game back in FedEx Field. You think them fans are not gonna be showing out that game after what transpired the past 2 weeks against the Cardinals and the Bengals on Monday night? I'm telling you this right now. Just off of the fact that the crowd will go crazy. We were there last year, week 1 of the season, when
this is the first game at FedEx for them. Didn't they play the Giants?
But this is
after being
this is after two straight. They're 3-1.
I got you.
Two straight victories.
Actually, 3 straight victories.
3 straight. Wow, that even proves my point even more. 3 straight victories. And they're finally back. I'm telling you this right now. The crowd is going to be electric. I think off the strength of that, I got the Commanders this game. I'm just going off of straight vibes. And I'm not picking the Browns. They're the worst team in the NFL right now. By far. Like there's not another worse team than the Browns right now. Well, Jacksonville is right there, but I was still Jacksonville's probably worse. But I'm gonna go.
The Dolphins might be giving them a run for their money. But.
Yeah, well they're in the top 3. Yeah. They're in the top 3 right now. But I'm not going with the Browns. I'm never picking the Browns again. I'm never picking the Browns. Like I picked the Browns too many times. They've let me down. I'm not picking the Browns ever again. I'm going with the Commanders. They're at home. They've been just the fact they're at home and the crowd is going to be electric, and they've just been going on this win streak. The offense has been getting in a groove. The defense, they played really, really well against the Cardinals, and I expect them to play semi-decent against the Browns. I mean, you never know with Amari Cooper. He might go for like 150 against them. But I don't see Deshaun Watson having a good game. I don't see this Browns offense to be that great. The receiver might be great, but the offense itself, I don't see them being great. Give me the Commanders this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders too. They just have shown more, and the offense just keeps. It seems like week after week they just get better and better, and no team has been able to really stop it outside of week 1 against the Buccaneers. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders because I think they want to go into the game against the Ravens with the most hype possible to really sell the fight.
Will they be home that game?
I think the Ravens are home.
Ah, man, I wish. Oh man, if the Commanders are at home, bruh, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Yep, the Ravens are home. I mean, it's like they going up the street.
Yeah, they're going up the street.
Trust me, it'll be plenty of Commanders fans there. But I feel like the Commanders are going to win because it would be the most hype matchup probably next week going Lamar and Jaden Daniels. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders.
You think the NFL is gonna make the call? Like, yeah, we're gonna have.
I mean, it's just the Commanders is playing. They're just a better team right now, which is kind of funny to say. But
if this was any other team, if this was any other team, I'd probably be like, all right, you know what? Maybe they might lose this, but it's the Browns. Like the Browns. I know you look on paper, you're like, man, they got certain dudes on there that's really good. But, dog, they've lost to the worst teams in the NFL, and their offensive line hasn't been playing great. Deshaun Watson has not been playing great. Amari Cooper is dropping passes left and right. It just seems like a team that has like a lot of bad vibes to them. If this was like the Colts, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe they could lose to the Colts. But this is a team that looks like they're going downhill. Like they're ready to
looking like the Browns.
They're ready for the offseason. They're ready to go to Cabo. They're ready to go to Cancun. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, if they lose this game, if the Browns lose this game, expect some trades to go down.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for Week 5 in the NFL. Hopefully, I get some type of good record. I went 8-8 last week. Good God.
The Jason Garrett special. I think I went like. I want to say the worst I did was 11-5. I might have went 12-4 though.
Okay, you had a good week.
Yeah,
you had a really good week. I tried to go. I tried to change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that didn't work. Yeah. So I'm just go back to using a lot of logic with a little sprinkle of vibes to it, a sprinkle of using my heart to it. All right, we are transitioning to news breaking about an NBA trade that transpired a few days ago involving the New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, we could have talked about it on Tuesday, but on Tuesdays, that's NFL. I wanted to wait until we record on Saturday to get our full thoughts on this trade. Now, just looking at the trade, we have Karl Anthony Towns getting traded to the New York Knicks. The Timberwolves, they get back Dante DiVincenzo. They get back Julius Randle. I think they get back a first-round pick.
Yep.
It was actually a 3-team trade. I forget.
In the Hornets?
Yeah.
Hornets received Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, Dwayne Washington. No one really cares.
Yeah,
second-round picks, 2025 second round. No one cares.
Yeah, nobody really cares. But, so, let me ask you this. How do you feel about the trade from both sides? Who do you think really won this trade?
I feel like this trade, from the Timberwolves' perspective, I don't really see like the big gain here. And Julius Randle, we all know about playoff Julius Randle. He's not the greatest. DiVincenzo's a solid piece to solid bench and depth player, but I don't really see how this makes them like much better or anything. Like, you already know Gobert is a liability at times in the playoffs on the court, and then you might have to take him off the court. Now he's really relying on Anthony Edwards to go out and make something happen. I just feel like they putting too much on Ant's plate. I know they probably feel like he's ready to take that next step, but at the same time, it would be nice to have a running mate, star player like Karl Anthony Towns with you. I guess I think they think Ant is the dude now. I guess they expect him to really take them to that final stage. Yeah,
I think what this trade boils down to is a salary dump. I believe they didn't want to keep paying Karl Anthony Towns all that money. He's getting paid over $200 million. That's a lot of money for a guy that at times he can be non-existent on the court in the playoffs. So I can understand that, why they would do that. I think what helped the Timberwolves out in this trade was the first-round pick, because you can use that to trade for something else. If they didn't have the first-round pick, then this could be a colossal disaster because Julius Randle. Now, Julius Randle, his contract is a friendly contract, so you could possibly move that around. And then you also have Dante DiVincenzo as well. You can move that contract around, and he's a quality role player coming off your bench, or if you need him to start in place of somebody, cool. This doesn't raise their ceiling at all. This is not a ceiling raiser for the Minnesota Timberwolves. What this does is help them in the long run, because you paid Rudy Gobert 200 M's. You traded for Rudy Gobert, giving up 4 first-round picks. I think the Timberwolves, they're gearing up for the future. This is something to where they're not really trying to compete for a championship right away. Maybe they feel like their ceiling, their window was last season, and they believe that with Karl Anthony Towns, they're not going to get any better. Because when you looked at it, you said it yourself. You said that they're built for the Nuggets, but going up against the Dallas Mavericks, that's a whole different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're going to get better. They're very talented. Shea is already, you said he's top 5. Like, he's already right there at an MVP caliber level. I don't think Minnesota is at that level yet. Last year, yeah, they were right there, but I don't think if you keep Cat that they would be right there with OKC and where they're developing and how they're getting better. Because you got to remember, they traded for Alex Caruso. They acquired Hartenstein. So you bring in those 2 quality role players, I think that raises their floor a little bit more than the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have Karl Anthony Towns. You have all these other players, and you did draft Rob Dillingham, but he's a rookie. He's coming in. He's a point guard. It gets a little dicey with him. This is just preparing for the future, because I believe that this year they think we'll still be good, but I don't think we're going to win a championship. So let's trade away Karl Anthony Towns now, and let's make sure that we are in a position to compete in the future for a championship. With the Knicks, on the other hand, they're going all in. Like, it's clear as day. I mentioned it months ago that, hey, this is right before the whole Jalen Brunson just pay cut that he did. Like, he legit gave them a significant pay cut. I said, hey, you got to go all in now. Like, it's time. Like, it's time to really go all in. And this is what they're doing. They're literally going all in. The Knicks feel like they are in the championship picture now. Like, they are a serious championship level team, and I agree that they are. Who won the trade?
I don't really think there's necessarily a winner.
You don't think it's a winner or a loser? Who won the trade?
I think
it all depends on how the Knicks win, like how the Knicks season turns out. Like, if the Knicks make the finals, I think they win the trade.
Oh, yeah.
But if they don't make the finals, then and then Minnesota is still competing, like they're still winning games, they're still like a top 5 seed in the Western Conference, I think Minnesota may have won the trade. This is such a toughie. I'll probably go with the Knicks on this one. I think with the Knicks, the way they have been building this team the past year and a half has been downright phenomenal. This is not the Knicks organization that I'm used to. Normally the Knicks, they would try to get a lot of washed up guys that are out of their prime, pay them all this money, a bunch of dudes that, like a Julius Randle, overpay him. They're actually making a lot of smart moves. And they're getting a lot of, let's say, deals from these moves. Like Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, they're not making a whole bunch of money. So guess what you can do? You can overspend for OG Anunoby.
Mm-hmm.
You can go out there and you can acquire Karl Anthony Towns because you're not paying a whole bunch of money to Jalen Brunson. You're not paying a whole bunch of money to Mikal Bridges.
Right.
Now, you got to win.
Yeah.
You got a small window. You got about like 2 years probably. After that, then everything's going to collapse. So you have this small window. And I believe right now, I believe so much in this Knicks team. The Boston Celtics are still going to be the favorites, but I think the Knicks, what they have built, they can go toe-to-toe with Boston. I think they're better than the 76ers. They can go toe-to-toe with Boston. They can actually win a championship this year.
Yeah, they definitely got the dudes to do it. It's just all about, obviously injuries and health comes into play.
Yeah.
And it's just when it's time to play, who's going to show up and perform. Cat, he's not the greatest playoff performer.
No, but you don't need him to be number one. See,
Exactly.
This is the good thing. This is a team where he doesn't need to be the number one. Just play
he
your
wasn't
role.
the number one last year.
You say he wasn't number one last year? Yeah, exactly. And so and he played well against the Nuggets.
Yeah,
he had a phenomenal series. Jalen Brunson, as long as the reason why the Knicks weren't able to go far, like they made it to the second round, Jalen Brunson was that great, but they couldn't go any farther because Jalen Brunson didn't have any help.
That is true.
Now he has help. So how does that look? Guess what? Jalen Brunson doesn't have to worry about defense because who does he have by his side? He has 2 of the better wing defenders in the NBA, and then he has one of the better big defenders, post defenders, interior defenders in Karl Anthony Towns. So all Jalen Brunson has to worry about is scoring and distributing. That's easy for him. He can easily do that. And that is a perfect model for him. That's going to be perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that is true. Here's one thing I don't think a lot of people have really considered on the Timberwolves side of things. Do you think they just trust Naz Reid to just make a leap? Because there were stretches and times in the playoffs last year where the Timberwolves offense looked better with Naz Reid in the game. Yeah. And Cat wasn't playing.
Yeah, you know what? You make a great point. That is true. Naz Reid has been tremendous for the Timberwolves last year, and then the year before being 6th man of the year, I believe it was. Naz Reid is definitely a really, really good player, and I understand. That was one of the arguments for why they should trade Karl Anthony Towns away is because of Naz Reid and his ascension. I think with the Timberwolves, it's going to boil down to just they're trying to save money, and they believe that with Rob Dillingham and with Naz Reid, they're going to really, I would say, not have the same production as Cat, but like sort of be able to really trying to think fill that gap.
Okay.
Fill that gap.
I mean, because when you think about like Cat and Naz Reid, they play similarly in a sense that they're not really like low block dudes.
No,
like they like to operate around the perimeter, and when both of them would be on the court, I mean, it just wasn't a good fit.
A good mix.
Yes, it's so too much spacing, and y'all aren't the Celtics. It's not gonna work like that. So I mean, it makes sense. I guess they really want Naz Reid to really step into a larger role in the offense and everything. So I ain't mad at it.
I think
I did feel like their ceiling was capped with Cat though.
Yeah,
I just thought they would have got a bigger deal. But I guess that's just how the league values Cat at this point.
And I think Nas Reed is a starting caliber player.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's really good. Like, he's very athletic. I remember against the Denver Nuggets series, like, him and Cat were like doing so well just defensively. They were really disrupting. Remember those two games? Like, they were really out there disrupting whatever Jokic, Jamal Murray, who was going to the paint they were trying to do. Like, they were blocking everything. They were preventing any shot from going in. Rudy Gobert didn't really have to do a whole lot. So I think Nas Reed, he can make that leap. I'm not gonna say he's an all-star player, but I think he'll be a quality starter for them, and he can stretch the floor. My thing is with Julius Randle, where does he work in all this? Because again, like, you need spacing for Anthony Edwards. The reason they lost to the Mavericks is that, number one, they didn't have a whole lot of spacing. He needed another ball handler with him, like Mike Conley at this stage of his career. He can't really do that whole lot. Rob Dillingham is still very, very young, so I expect him to be great next year, not this year. So I think they're just building something for the future. They're still going to be able to compete, and with trading away Cat and getting a first-round pick back, and then you bring in Dante DiVincenzo, they're going to be able to compete. They're still going to be a really, really good team. They're still very athletic. They still have a bunch of shooting, scoring, but I don't think it raises their ceiling or anything like that right now. But next year and the year afterwards, I expect them to really make a huge leap. It's just, for right now, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the final topic of the day. We didn't talk about this, but we mentioned a little bit, but college football, Georgia versus Alabama. We didn't give our reactions to the game, but I just want to say this. I know it's been like a week since the game happened, but I want to ask you this about, like, what did you notice from watching that game when it came to Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe? Any thoughts about the QBs that are potentially going to go in the NFL draft, high picks?
I will say this.
Yeah.
The GM, I'm going to look in the camera and say this. The GM that drafts Carson Beck in the top 5 or top 10, they're going to lose the job. Because what I saw, especially like the first half of the game from our Georgia Bulldogs, Carson Beck just, when the going gets tough, it's like, dude, we need you.
Yeah.
Carson, we need you. Where you at, man? Like, in the accuracy that everyone praises for, it just wasn't there in the first half. And like, literally took them until mad late in the game to really get the offense going and claw their way back into this game, which Alabama, you should be ashamed of yourself for letting this game go to OT. But at the end of the day, oh my gosh, the Carson, it's an experience. I'll say that. Out of the top QBs, people, he's towards the bottom.
Yeah, he is, for sure.
I just don't see it as of right now.
Doesn't have the intangibles. He doesn't have the certain.
Like, what does he do exceptionally well?
People think that he's incredibly accurate, but he wasn't incredibly accurate in that game. I would say, like,
he threw so many almost interceptions. It was crazy.
It was. I don't see the he reminds me a little bit like Daniel Jones. Like, that's who he reminds me of, where he doesn't have the greatest arm. You think he's supposed to be incredibly accurate, but against better competition, he's not. Like, I just don't see he's not incredibly mobile. Like, he can be mobile, but he's not incredibly mobile. He does have he is about like 6'3", 6'4". Like, he's good size for like a QB for the next level, but there's nothing that goes like he's special at this.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about what he does, which is a bit concerning. Like, I look at Jalen Milroe, we know like he's a special dual threat. His legs are phenomenal, and he can improvise.
Strong arm too.
He can improvise. Strong arm, special arm. Shedeur Sanders, I think he has an incredible release, like fast release. He has the ability to process
ball placement. Yeah.
Good, really, really good ball placement. He can process things very quickly. Carson Beck, I look at him, I say, what does he do well? I don't see it. I just don't. Cam Ward as well. Like incredible arm talent.
And he seems to be good pre-snap, very good pre-snap too.
Yeah, has an incredible feel for the game. But just
very
Carson
cool,
Beck.
calm, and collected.
Carson Beck in structure, he's good, but like when, like you said, when pressure starts to build, he seems to see ghosts. He seems to panic a lot. He seems to become a very inaccurate in his throws. Like some throws where, the receiver's open, the receiver is, you're supposed to lead the receiver a certain way, and then the ball goes this way, the receiver, is over here, he's trying to catch it. Like, it's just some things about Carson Beck I just didn't like. And it's weird because Alabama, they're relatively young. Like, defensively, I think one of their starting corners picked him off is a freshman. Like, they're incredibly young. And for them to make Carson Beck look that vulnerable is very concerning.
Yeah, speaking of freshmen,
that boy Ryan Williams, man,
he's going to be a problem.
Very big problem.
This dude is 17, moving on that field. Like, I don't even like the stuff he was doing out there. You can't even do that in any video game.
No, you can't.
Like when he caught that ball in the fourth quarter, he like turned his body control is crazy. He caught the ball, spun. Like did a hezzy step and then did a spin. I'm like, I feel like he's just trying stuff out there and it's working.
Remember when it was a throw and he almost didn't catch it. Like he bobbled it and went up and then he caught it. Bruh, like that.
This dude
hands is crazy.
This
Him and Jeremiah Smith, they're very, very talented.
At 17, like when I was 17, I was just graduating. I graduated high school. It was doing nothing. Yeah. This man is playing in front of almost 100,000 people and playing in front of millions on primetime television.
What's funny? Like I was like watching the game, and it just hit me like just the difference that Alabama Stadium is compared to University of Maryland Stadium. Like it is completely different. Like it's not even just the crowd; it's just like the aesthetics and everything, the lighting and all this stuff, the scenery. Is crazy. I'm just like, yo, it is a night and day difference between Maryland and Alabama. It's like. They put a lot of money into the football program. Maryland, they put some money into it, but it's not like Alabama. Like Alabama, them seats ain't concrete. They're not bleachers. They're actual, like, real live seats, comfortable for people to sit on. And, man, it's just an experience, man. It is just an experience. I think they had I was watching on the Sky Cam where you can actually see the entire field. Like it's all 22. Yeah, they have like a sky. Yeah, they have a sky cam.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was watching that, and so I got to see like Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe. I got to see like what they're seeing on the actual entirety of the field. I wish they have that on Monday Night Football. Like that would be really dope to see. But I guess it's only for college. But yeah, man, it was a phenomenal game. I really enjoyed it. Jalen Milroe, before the game, there wasn't much talk about him being the number one QB. We did a segment on like college QBs. I didn't have him in it, but now it's becoming more and more evident that he should be in the conversation for the number one QB. I can't really give you a definitive answer to how I feel about Jalen Milroe in terms of should he be number one pick, should he be the number one QB in the league, because I think so. I think I need to see more. He has improved a lot from the pocket. He has improved a lot in terms of like being a improviser. Seeing him with the new head coach from Washington, Kalen DeBoer, compared to Nick Saban, it seems like that offense is a lot better because last year the offense was struggling a lot with Alabama. But with Kalen DeBoer, like he's a quarterback whisperer and he's a phenomenal offensive coach. So the Alabama offense is going to be phenomenal for the rest of the season. Ryan Williams, he made a smart decision going to Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
They're just going to keep getting a lot more recruits. Just after this game, it's just going to more people are going to be like, oh, so they're still Alabama. Like, they're still that team without Nick Saban. Like, yeah, because their offense is electric. I do think Jalen Milroe's stock has significantly gone up. He should be in the conversation. Carson Beck, no way in hell I would draft Carson Beck over Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and maybe even Quinn Ewers. I mean, Quinn Ewers is hurt a lot, but I like Quinn Ewers a little bit better than Carson Beck right now.
Question. Let's talk about that for a second, the Texas. They probably will give Quinn Ewers his job back when he's healthy. But should they? Arch Manning is definitely shutting up them critics that say he wasn't playing comp in high school. He's not going to be good in college, and that boy is hooping.
Let me tell you this. I think here's where we need to be a bit careful trying to debate. Oh, should Arch Manning start over Quinn Ewers?
I don't think he should because he's still a fresh. Wait, is he a freshman or second year?
I think it's the second year.
Okay, second year. Okay.
Here's where I lean towards starting Quinn Ewers because the competition the competition that Arch Manning has faced is not all that good. Like, he's going against teams that are not ranked. They're not even close to being ranked in the top 25. Quinn Ewers.
Mississippi State still SEC football.
Yeah, but they're not all that good. Quinn Ewers went up to Michigan, a top 25 team, and walked them down.
Yeah.
Made them look pathetic. I'm going to still start Quinn Ewers. He's experienced. He's been there. I expect him to play well against the best teams. Bro, their schedule, they still got a bunch of other teams, other really, really good teams in the SEC. So you want an experienced QB to go up against those teams. Now, if Quinn Ewers, if he comes back and he wets the bed, then yeah, you can make that decision. But ultimately, I think it's better for Texas to just go back to
stick with the experience. Yeah,
stick with the experience. Arch Manning is going up against a lesser competition. They're not all that good. And I think his first or second start, he didn't play all that well. Like, yeah, he did get a bunch of yards, but he threw some picks. So he still has to get over certain things. I'm still going with Quinn Ewers on that one.
Yeah, I say put Quinn back in the game.
All right.
I think he gives you the best chance to go really far.
Yeah, for sure.
But Arch has shown some good stuff for the future. They should be good. They be comfortable knowing that he'll take the starting role next year in the year after.
Yeah, the offense will be electric next year. They're still gonna be great. They're still gonna be in contention next year. Like, they're gonna be Texas is gonna be there for a minute. They're gonna be really good for a minute. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Nope. I think we're good.
Okay. I just want to say this real quick. Bad blood is tonight. I will say this. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you better show up. You better show up tonight or I'm going to be pissed. I heard you're in Georgia. So that means you got to be showing up because it's in Atlanta. So you better show up because you hold my man's Drew McIntyre and CM Punk from a main event. So they're the hell in the cell match. So you better show up or I'm gonna be super pissed. That's all I gotta say on that matter. But I can't wait for Bad Blood. That's gonna be so amazing. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. Oh, hell in the cell match. If I hear, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, if I hear that, I'm going to go crazy. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell for all the socials as well. And we will see you guys on the next episode of Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching and peace.
Salute.
Just let me be.